to Glorified Gutsy Gaming. I'm Jake, and today we are unboxing Buffy the Vampire Slayer Unmatched. Comes with Buffy, Spike, Willow, and Angel, ages 14 and up, 2 to 4 players, 20 to 40 minutes. Comes with 2 battlefields, 4 miniatures, and 129 cards. And I'll go ahead and read the characters. Buffy says she'll hit you with Mr. Pointy or summon her Slayer's strength for a cartwheel kick. And when it's time for backup, she'll take her pick between the insightful Giles or reliable Xander. And then she's got 2 sidekicks and it says or, so I guess you get to pick. And then Spike, a relentless hunter, he seeks the shadows and calls on Drusilla's sight to let him know just where and when to strike. Bloody hell. Sidekick is Drusilla. Willow, a peerless witch, she dabbles in black magic and risks her darker self, potent but dangerous. At times, only Tara can bring her back from the brink of the abyss. Tara is her sidekick. And then we've got Angel. Once the scourge of Europe, the brooding vampire is cursed with a soul, conflicted by his victories and taking solace in his losses. Faith is there to make sure things stay 5 by 5. And Faith is his sidekick. So, open up. Rulebook. Then we've got our help dials for, it's 2. For Angel and Faith, Buffy, Giles, Xander, Willow, Tara. Willow has a transformation token. Spike's shadow tokens, Drusilla and Spike's health wheels. And then we've got the board. Assuming this is the high school, let's see, lockers here. And then here, the bronze, oh, it says on the bottom. So we've got the bronze and Sunnydale High. We've got our little pieces to put the health dials together. We've got our minis. We got our sidekicks, and which one of them is probably, the yellow one is the one that's either or. Maybe they can change in game. Maybe that's what the transformation token is. Alright, so I'm going to look at Spike's cards first. Spike is a melee character, as is Drusilla, movement of 2. At the start of your turn, you may place a shadow token in any space adjacent to Spike or Drusilla. I don't know what the shadow tokens do. We've got attack or defense for Spike with a power of 4. During combat, if Spike or the opposing fighter is in a space with a shadow token, you may boost this card. So maybe that's what they do. And we've got a Spike attack for 3. During combat, if Spike or the opposing fighter is in a space with a shadow token, the value of this card is 5 instead. Now we've got a Spike scheme card. Draw 2 cards. Place a shadow token in Spike's space and each space adjacent to it. Ooh. Alright then. There's a lot of those. And then there's another attack for Spike for 4. During combat, you may discard your hand, even if your hand is empty. If you do, the value of this card is 6 instead. Okay, there's only one of those. Spike attack or defense. After combat, deal 1 damage to the opposing fighter, then deal an additional 1 damage for each space with a shadow token adjacent to them. Oh, that could be good. There's 3 of those. Drusilla has an attack or defense card. After combat, draw 1 card. If the opposing fighter is in a space with a shadow token, draw 3 cards instead. Drusilla has a scheme card that says, choose an opponent and look at their hand, choose a card for them to discard. If any of their fighters are in a space with a shadow token, choose 2 cards for them to discard instead. She's got an attack or defense card with a value of 1. During combat, blind boost this card. If Drusilla's space has a shadow token, double the boost value. Alright. And then any character for attack or defense, value of 4. After combat, if you won the combat, move up to 2 fighters in the combat, up to 2 spaces. A lot of combat. Any, again, after combat, if you won the combat, choose either fighter in the combat and move them up to 4 spaces. Same idea, just farther, it looks like. Any for 2. Immediately cancel all effects on your opponent's card, that's pretty standard. Any for 1. After combat, draw a card. If you won the combat, draw 2 instead. That's pretty standard too. But that's his deck. And let's see. Take a look at Angel now. Angel and Faith are both melee characters. Movement of 2. After Angel or Faith attacks, if you lost the combat, draw a card. That's not that. That's a good consolation prize. Angel has an attack for 5, no special effects. Angel has a defense card. Oh, there was no defense cards in Spike's deck, I just remembered. Alright, Angel defense card. After combat, if you lose the combat, you may place Angel in any space in his zone. And that's on top of the ability, so that's pretty good. Angel any. After combat, if you lost the combat, the opposing fighter takes 1 damage. So this seems like you want to lose the fight with him all the time. Angel attack. After combat, if you lost the combat, recover 1 health. Angel attack 3. After combat, draw a card. Faith for 5 attack. After combat, move Faith up to 5 spaces. She may move through opposing fighters. That's nice. Faith for a value of 3, attack or defense. After combat, deal 1 damage to each opposing fighter adjacent to Faith. Faith scheme, deal 2 damage to 1 opposing fighter adjacent to Faith. Any attack 4. After combat, move your fighter to any other space in their zone. Any for attack or defense, value of 3. During combat, if your fighter started this turn in a different space, this card's value is 5 instead. We've seen that before. Any 2, immediately cancel effects. That's pretty standard too. And then the same ones where you draw a card or draw 2 cards if you win. Oops, seen those. Now we've got Willow and Terra. Willow is a ranged fighter, as is Terra, the first ones of the set, and can move up to 2. When Willow or Terra is dealt damage, Willow becomes Dark Willow. At the end of your turn, if Dark Willow is adjacent to Terra, she becomes Willow. Okay. So, some type of transformation there. Willow has an attack for 4. During combat, blind boost this attack. Willow attack for 4. After combat, move Willow to any space in her zone. Discard top card of your deck. And there's a symbol here for both of these. I imagine that's when you're Dark Willow. Yeah, I'll have to read through that and make sure that's right. Willow has a defense for 5. After combat, become Willow. Willow for 3. Attack or defense, blind boost this card. That same symbol. Willow has a scheme card. Draw 2 cards. Discard the top 2 cards of your deck. Deal 3 damage to a sidekick in your zone, even if it's your own. If you're that. If you're the Dark Willow, it looks like. So we gotta use that one carefully. Another scheme card for Willow. Choose a friendly fighter who has been defeated. Place that fighter in any space in Willow's zone and set their health to 3. That's pretty nice. Terra. After combat, if you won the combat, choose a card in your discard pile and add it to your hand. That's Terra for attack or defense, value of 4. Terra has attack or defense for 3. Immediately cancel any abilities on your opponent's card. Okay. Any for 2. After combat, look at the top card of your deck, then choose to put it on top of your deck or the bottom of your deck. Any attack for 3. Move your fighter up to 4 spaces after combat. Any attack for 3. After combat, move the opposing fighter up to 3 spaces. Any attack or defense for 2. Immediately cancel all effects. And then same thing. So that's it for that one. And then one deck left. This one is, of course, Buffy, who's a melee character, and Giles or Xander, who are also. But she can move 3 in comparison to everybody else. Buffy may move through spaces containing opposing fighters, including when she is moved by effects. So that's pretty awesome. Never comes all the way off. We've got a Buffy for attack or defense, value of 4. After combat, you may move all fighters adjacent to Buffy to another space in their zone. Then deal 1 damage to each fighter you moved. That's a risk. Buffy, any for 3. After combat, Buffy recovers 1 health. Buffy attack for 5. Buffy defense for 2. After combat, you may move Buffy up to 3 spaces, then deal 1 damage to each opposing fighter adjacent to her. So that could be good. Giles has a scheme card. Choose an opponent and look at their hand. Choose 1 card in their hand for them to discard. That's pretty good. Giles has another scheme card. Draw 3 cards. Xander has an attack for 4. After combat, draw 1 card. Xander has any for 2 during combat. If Xander is adjacent to Buffy, the value of this card is 6 instead. Any for 4. After combat, if you won the combat, draw 2 cards. Otherwise, take 1 damage. Any for 4. After combat, if you won the combat, move one of the fighters in the combat up to 2 spaces. Any attack for 3. After combat, move your fighter up to 4 spaces. Cancel all effects on your opponent's card, and draw cards. So each of these have those. And that is everything in here. I think I'm pretty excited to try most of these. I'm excited to try the new board, and I think these will be pretty interesting to try, especially the one where it seems like you get benefits for losing all the time. That seems pretty interesting. But that is everything here, so thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Subscribe.